Everybody, I'm delighted to introduce you to Debra Berman, who's a Senior Vice President for Marketing at Yahoo. We have had so many interesting conversations here about data and connecting with people. And Debra, one of the things you mentioned yesterday was you had a really good kind of perspective on how do we use data in a helpful way instead of a creepy way when we're connecting with customers. You had a kind of a great template for that.
Yeah, I thought that what I've seen is we get worried about where we have insights like as if there's some secret we hold on somebody and we act on that, just like in your personal life. If you're acting on something and you thought, I'm kind of doing it in a duplicitous way, then that's probably not a great way to use data. But if you're using the data to value your core product's value proposition, you're probably in a good space. And I think what I said yesterday was I said, if it's my core value prop, I'm probably in a good zone, but if I'm using it to sort of get the cheap sale in the moment, then I might be in an exploitive zone, and that would cause me to back off and put more filters for is it the right data at the right time to approach a consumer.
That's so interesting, I think, because you're really using your own personal values and connecting to people in a way that you would connect with a friend. And I like that very much. That's some of the things I've been writing a lot about. So the other thing we talked about yesterday is how do we use data, and we live in this world of automation, to really create personal and emotional connections on the web. What are some of the things that you're thinking about and passionate about these days?
So this goes back to many years. Let's take it almost 2 decades back of what is an insight and what kind of data then today am I valuing and am I using. I think data that is just behavioral is almost rear view looking data. It's data that didn't know a person, it knew what they did. But if I balance that kind of great, and a lot of the data out there is going to be behavioral, but if I balance that with data that ties back to people's beliefs, then the package of that insights, I think, is what gets you to the right place. So one thing I would tell you about your data to get more value out of it is first ask yourself, what kind of data do I really have? And what do I know about a person because of it? And then I kind of have a philosophy that I want my data to be a great operating system that I work on, as opposed to maybe 20 years ago or even 10 years ago before we had the kind of data we have. But it's just that. It's an operating system. I want it to live as a utility in my decision maker. And I think great marketers still have to do the same kinds of things marketers have always done before, and that has to be your foreground activity.
I love that explanation of as looking at data as your operating system. That's fantastic. Leads me to my last question. So one of the themes here at the CMO conference is people are saying, well, we've got more data, we've got more tools, but it just doesn't seem any easier. Everything just seems so complex, and how do we really mine this data for real insight, and we have to use multiple tools. So what do you see coming down the road on that and that sort of thing that we're struggling with these days?
Sure. Well, I do still think, and it might be the whole brainer in me, but I think that data immediately puts us into wanting to judge right and wrong, yes, no, on a decision path. We want to be very binary about what data says. But in fact, I think data, just like everything else in strategy, is very creative. And so I think what's happening first is you've got many more companies who are institutionalizing the role of data in a creative space. So I think then what happens is data gets freed up to be more valuable to you. So I think predictive analytics, where you sit there and you take a hypothesis and you test and learn, doesn't say that you're ever going to be done. There's never going to be a binary answer to I used it, I consumed it, it was right and repeatable. It's going to be useful and scalable and agile. So it's kind of a like make love not war with data. And I think in that chapter, then some of the things that I'm seeing here get really comfortable for organizations. I think the cognitive learning is going to be amazing, and applying the cognitive. I think virtual reality will get its wins because instead of waiting for there to be a gate that we cross over before we experiment, we'll just be agile about our data and agile about the technology and interfaces for consumers.
Well, thank you for sharing your wisdom today. And for all my readers and viewers, if they want to follow you on the web, where can they find you?
Oh my gosh, Deb Berman. I post only subtly though, but you can find me Deb Berman on Twitter, and more to come as I get to know you more, Mark.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Deb. Take care.
Okay.